morning, good evening, and welcome to this week's Fiberific Live Craft and Chat, where we craft and chat live. I'm going to be working on a project that I've had on the go for some time. I'm just looking at my Ravelry, and I cast it on June the 6th, 2023. I actually thought it was older than 2 years old, but either way, it has played a bit of a mental game with me. The bag has moved around the office. It's gone out into the crafting chair. It's come back. And because it's a blanket, it's a big, bulky project. Now, as you know, here in this room, I have a very small room to work with. And I need to try and keep all of my craft except for what I'm currently working, like a single trolley I get to have in the living room. But other than that, everything else is supposed to fit in here. Now, I have managed to circumvent that with some crates. It's stacked hidden, no, out of sight, out of everyday view, with some extra, yarn and supplies in it. But for the most part, I really am trying to keep it condensed down to this one space. Now, there's lots of people thinking, oh my gosh, if only I had a whole room for craft. I don't have a whole room for craft. This half of the room, this room is 2.4 meters by 2.8 meters with a 7-foot ceiling. I don't know what that is. Isn't it weird? Lots of things I know in centimeters, and then every now and again there's something in the old measurements of foot and inches. But so this room itself is quite small, and half of it, believe it or not, because my desk is 1.6 centimeters wide, nearly a half of it has to be kept tidy. I would say yarn free, except yarns in here, yarns in there. But, try and keep it a bit tidier, because this isn't the only, I don't only use this space for Fiberific live streaming. I use it for a lot of other things. And so trying to keep it in I've got a set of Kallax 4x4s with the boxes. And then I've got a Kallax 1x4 sitting up on top of that with some more bits and pieces in it. Now, again, not all of it's yarn. Some of it is tech stuff for running the YouTube channel, all this sort of stuff. Anyway, my point being, I'm trying to pare it down. I've got a few projects in their bags on the floor, okay? And I leave them there for one specific reason. If I trip over them, I am more likely to work on them. If I can see them, I know they exist. I know it's so bizarre, but I have this brain where I will totally blank out on a project if it is not out and about, right? So there was a blanket that I frogged the other week. It was in like a soft turquoise and a grey, and it was just a striped ripple blanket, right? For the life of me, I have no idea when or why I started it. I have totally misplaced the mental receipt for that one. It is gone out of my brain. So I frogged it back. So I've got, a few 100 grams of some nice, I think it's luxury 8-ply. I'll have to check it. But I've got some probably about 500 grams. So Kelly says, you mean you don't look at your Ravelry projects every day? See, Kelly, this is the thing. Some of these projects have been around longer than I was regularly updating on Ravelry, not longer than Ravelry. Well, there might be some of those too. But some of these projects never made it to Ravelry. So that blanket, the grey and soft blue blanket, was not on Ravelry. So I couldn't even look it up to work out why I put it, like why I was making it. So that is one of the reasons why I let Kelly live rent-free in my brain, to get me to add all my projects to Ravelry, which I've been trying very hard to do more and more and more, but I'm not perfect when it comes to that either. But yeah, so this particular blanket, it has, so the balls are this size, right? And it has 4 white, 4 blue, and 2 red. So that's a lot, that's a lot of yarn. And of course, as you make the blanket, you get less and less and less. So I'm like sort of down to this is the last of the red, like half a squished ball of the pomegranate. And so, you know, it gets down, but then you've got the actual blanket itself that you've got to cart around. So, long story short, is get your whips out, people. Your work's in progress. Get them out and finish them. So I was looking around at a couple that I have. Not all of them are on Ravelry, I have to admit. And I did another sort of like keep or frog process where I was just like, am I going to work on it or am I going to frog it? I found a whole crate of projects that I need to go through. And so I'm not doing that today. Today I'm going to work on this project. So over the last week, I have actually added a whole extra stripe. So the red and the blue of this side, I've added a whole stripe. So 13 squares over this week while I've been working and on calls and things like that. So it's actually this side because the tails are still out. And so, does that mean I've just started that white one on the wrongs? No, it's in the right place. Oh, that's good. But yeah, so the thing with this blanket is I bought this quantities of yarn, the 4 of these, the 4 of the blue and the 2 of the red for another project that didn't work. It definitely needed to be wool, not cotton, and this is pure cotton. And so I actually had to kind of, what am I going to do with all this wool or all this yarn sort of thing? And decided that this corner to corner join as you go is something I had not really done. And there was a couple of reasons why, and I'm going to come down into the hand. This blanket's also a bit dusty, so it's, you know, it's I've got like extra tissues around. I've had extra antihistamines. It's a little dusty, and I can't wash it yet because I want to finish it and then wash it. And then this blanket is also for me. So, and that's the other reason. All the other blankets that I made last year and everything like that and the year before, they were always for other people. So I had this, I want to give it to them. I want to give, and I had this momentum to get them finished. This one's for me, and everything for me gets sidelined, right? Like, oh yeah, I'll get to that. I want to work on this gift for somebody else. I'm more about giving to other people than making the time for myself. And I'm trying very, very hard to do that a little less. I'm not going to say stop doing it because I'm sorry, but I'm going to try very hard to do it a little less. In the meantime, while I'm trying very hard to do that a little less, I'm using that force of nature energy to work on this. So let me press the button. There we go. Here it is here. And there was a couple of things about the corner to corner join as you go that I don't like, right? So let me go back to my first row here. Are you the first row? First couple of squares of the first row. I changed it back there, so it must be, where is it? That is the first side. So basically, what's happened is, where did I had one that I really like. I don't like the legs is what it boils down to. Here we go. I was looking for it in the white because it stands out better in the white, but here it is in the red. I don't like the little legs that poke into the other colors, and especially when it's the white. Now I'm just looking because I definitely did it more than once in the white. The white really stands out. Nope. Okay. And so if you work from the front, you get these little pokey legs. Now when you do it into the white, which I can't seem to find, which I had one marked or pulled to the top and then I moved the blanket around because that's what you do, right? And it's not to say I've done this perfectly because I realized there was a couple of mistakes, but these little excursions into the color next door bug me. Louis losing his mind. Let me just double check what it is. Let me just double check. It should be good. Hang on a second. Hey! Hey, come on. What's wrong, big man? is very excited because Abby's home from work. Okay, so yeah, so these excursions into the other colour bugged me, and I had a complaint about it. I had a big complaint about it with my crafty friends. And Leanne, who may not be here in the chat right now, she gave me the game changer tip. Now, she learnt it from somewhere else, and she told me where she learnt it from, and I can't remember, but in my brain, Leanne taught it to me. But it was so that you could actually have... So I'm trying to compare like for like. So see here how these all protrude into the next colour, and these red ones over here, so much less protrusion. Leanne taught me how to do that, and it basically comes down to because you work both sides of corner to corner, and when you work on the wrong side and you put your hook through, that's how you get these legs, right? So she said, just kind of dig in backwards, which I'll show you as we get through there. So I'm actually surprised Abby's home. I didn't think she finished for another few hours yet, but alrighty. So I'm just on a corner, right? A starting corner right here. That white's very bright. And I'm just going to flip it. And I'm very lazy when it comes to the flipping, because I don't want to have to flip the whole dang blanket. So, yes. Now, I'm just going to pop you guys on a be right back, and I'm just going to get the goss. Hang on. Can I find it? There it is. Okay, all right, everything is good. Alrighty, so yeah, so I was just, once Leanne taught me this trick, because like look at this side of the white. This is the back side, right? So look at how obtrusive those little legs are, which I also know most of you don't care. I care. These little obtrusive legs, and on the front side, just little tiny like peaks, like little. So yeah. And I know not everybody is worried about it, but it was something that bugged me. And what I will say is it's not so obvious when I'm using something like acrylic or wool, because the yarn itself blooms around it. I only really notice it when I'm doing it with cotton. I did a test. Where's my bag? Where's my project bag? The whole bag of yarn. Oh, there it is. So I do a test, right? Because this was a new technique for me. I didn't care about the legs quite so much with the acrylic. Like, they're still there. They're still big, but they just seem to, they just seem to blend in a bit better. So, yeah. But then when it came to the cotton, and with these very contrasty colors, it was, one of those things. So let's have a look here. Holly says, finishing whips is such an awesome feeling. I've finished 2 long-term whips this year and it felt great. I bet. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. One of them was a Tunisian crochet blanket. I need to add a picture to the Discord. Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. He does. Like, he does bark quite funny. He does bark quite funny. Francis says it's because the colours are more contrast. I think so. And it just stands out so much more. And it was doing my head in. And I was so tempted to go back and, like, when I worked out how to do this, I was only 2 rows into the blanket. I just want to clarify that. I was so tempted to go back and just rip it out and start again, so I didn't have any of these legs on the front. But I did not. I did not do that. And I will just have to live with that decision. Now, the other little issue that I had was over time, believe it or not, your tension changes. And I started this project off using a 3.5mm hook. And then when I picked it back up again to work on it, my squares just were the wrong sizes, right? Like they were just not right. What have I done here? Hang on a second. Oh, I know what I've done there. I botched up that bit. Did I? If I go up there, join that. No, that should be fine. It's because I'm nervous now because I'm like, oh, I'm doing this on camera. And this is not a natural, this project, even though I've done this many squares, every time I start a square, I'm like, am I doing it right? Oh my gosh, I'm doing it wrong. Pull it out and do it again. This one has been, like, if I just kept going, I'd probably be finished without the, all the pulling things out and going again kind of stuff. No, that shouldn't be flat there. I have donkeyed something up there. Oh no, let me just look. So you come up this way. Yeah, no, I did. I donkeyed something up. And that's something else I do. I tend to start squaring off before I should. That's a habit. I don't know why. And part of it is because whenever I usually make something with these C2C squares, it's normally a much smaller thing. It's not normally like a 10 by 10 square. And so, sometimes you just donkey things up and you've just got to be prepared to pull it out and go again. Yeah, see, here I turned and started going down, but I actually need to go up another step. I think of them as steps. Does anyone else in the chat think of these corner to corner things as steps? Or am I alone? Vampire was lost in the rabbit hole that is Ravelry. I actually think we can all relate. Yeah. I was reading a book this morning and Abby's come in and she's like, you live streaming today? I'm like, no, Abby, it's Wednesday. And she's going, no, Mum, it's Thursday. I was just like, oh, what? So, like, I knew what I was going to work on and everything, but I was just like, make thumbnails, get everything ready. She thought it was hilarious. Holly says that happened to me with the Tunisian blanket. I started the blanket 3 years ago and I had to make one more square to finish it. And I had to go down a hook size because my tension had changed. Sandy says, you're not alone, steps and stairs. Excellent. I'm so glad because that's what they think. That's what I think of when I see them. I think of stairs or steps. So yeah. So just, I know I'm not finished, but I actually also had a bit of a revelation. I only have enough red for one more red and blue stripe. So it's like a red and white. A white and blue stripe all the way down, white, blue, white, blue, white, blue, all the way to the end. And then on the next row, it's red, blue, red, blue, red. Like, I'm looking at them and I can't say the words. Sorry, there's not enough coffee in my system. And I realized, I've only got enough of the red to do one more strip of the blue and the red. And I've only done 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And I was like, oh man, it's going to make it really narrow. I'm only going to be able to add in, like, another one, another this, and another that. So I'm only going to get 3 more strips. I'm only going to end up with 7 wide. It's going to be a bit narrow. And I'm sitting there trying to think about what I could do to just widen it a little bit, because the length is fine. The length I'm really happy with. But I was just like, then I realized, like, okay, all right, I'm not caffeinated enough. Obviously, I wasn't thinking when I started the project either. But I realized, dum-dum, you can add another row of blocks on this side, which will give you another row of the white and the blues. And then what that will actually do is you'll have white and blues all the way around the outside. So you'll have the white blue row there, and then it's all down this end, and it's also at the other end. I finished off with the white and the blues. So and then I realized, well, then if I still need it a bit wider, I'll be able to do, because I've got double the amount of the blue and the white. I'll be able to do like a white and blue border, because there'll be leftovers of the white and blue. Now, admittedly, I'm using a lot more blue than I am white. So I'll probably do a white border with like a little blue edge on it, like a blue crab stitch or something. But yeah, I was just like, Chantel, you could absolutely stick a whole nother row on. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to sit properly because I'm going to have to join it the other way. But I probably don't care that much because it's for me. So I am doing a little dance because I've realized I'll be able to get the blanket as wide as I want it, and maybe even a little wider to use up some of the extra yarn if need be. And it will actually look like it is finished because of this whole blue and white edging that's going to go around the whole outside of it. So I worked that out, like, what time were we at? 10:30? I worked that out about 9 o'clock. Like I'm still on a high from it. I'm still like, yeah. So yeah, pretty dang excited to realize I will actually get the width I want. So with 13 of these squares long, I did a little measure-do. It's coming out to nearly 1.8 meters. So it's 1.79 or something like that. Like it's very close to 1.8 meters. And then I measured the 5 squares across, and it only came out to like 62 centimeters. So I was just like, oh man, I'm only going to be able to add 3 more to it. So it's only going to come out to like 100 centimeters. And I prefer my little lap rugs and stuff to be 120. So adding on that extra row is going to give me another sort of 12, 13 centimeters. So I'm pretty happy. And then I can decide if I want a border or an edge or whatever it is. I can decide that later. I don't have to decide that now. But Vampire says if you start from the other end for that row, it'll work up the same way. So instead of, because I marked my beginning square, that was my beginning square. So I started here and worked that way. So what you're saying, Vampire, is if I actually start it down the opposite end, it'll work it up the same way. Oh, champion. Absolute champion. I'm going to finish this row and then I'm going to go and do that row. But it does take me some time to finish it. I'm like this far into this row, and I'm so tempted to just pull it, and I think I am. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull it and do the start row, because this is it. This is all I've done, is this corner. All right, let me just get this yarn over here. Get out of the way, red yarn. We don't need you. All right, flip. That's the corner that we were starting at, all the other rows. That's the end we start all the other rows at. So then flip that down there and start it over here. Alrighty. Let's get it going. Let's find your little corner. You're a little bit worn in from all the packing and the unpacking and the shoving in the corner. There we go. Okay, now this is not in the middle. So let me see if I can move my hands a bit. I'm in the middle. What's happened to my camera here? Let me just. There we go. That's better, right? That's better. All right, Vampire, you are a champion. A true champion. All right, let me just go in and. All right. Now, the other thing that I do a bit differently, I have linked, I was down to the last 2 balls of sock yarn and then my friend gave me more. In the good way or in the bad way? Like in the, oh, please make me more socks. You know, here is more work for you. Or in the, oh, I noticed your stash is getting low. Here, please have some yarn because I love you. Now, Fiber Spiders videos, which I have linked to my Ravelry. I've got the first one. It's a series of 4. I've got the first one linked. He does the 6 and 3. So when you're doing the chains between the different things, he does 6 and 3. Now, that ended up being way too long for me. So I do 2 chains here and then join that there. And then when I'm doing the extras along here, instead of doing 6, I do 5. And that's about that. And Leanne's super duper beginning stitch, like super duper work into the front side when you're on the back, are the only real changes I've made. And they were the changes I needed to make it so I could do this project without having to stab it or someone. So let me know in the chat, have you got a work in progress or a whip that's been sitting there maybe in the naughty corner or just constantly being put aside for something else, and it is something you want to finish? Because that's the other thing. Sometimes things become whips or they go into hibernation because you actually don't want to make it. So I'm talking about things that you actually want to finish, not things that you should just go and, you know, frog. If you're working on something, right, and you don't love it and there's no reason for you to complete it, like it's not a commission, it's not a deadlined gift, something like that, and you just don't love it, frog it. Just frog it, because we all only have limited crafting time, limited crafting supplies, and you can utilize that for something else. Or you can even destash and sell the yarn to fund something else. Knitspin girls. I mean, cool that you've got some more work to do, but also you were so excited at nearly being done and starting a project that wasn't socks. Oh, Talia has 2 blankets like that. So what do you need? What momentum do you need, Talia, to pick one of those up and start working on it? One is a Battenberg, the other is a corner to corner. Oh, okay. You're working on a different project. So you're working on the Lima, which is so gorgeous. And then once you're ready to pick one of them straight back up again. So that is cool as well. That is very cool. So you've got a plan. I'm glad to hear you've got a plan. So what has anybody else got a whip in a corner or something hibernating that you, because like I think I would technically class this as hibernating. I was barely touching it. It's not like it was like I have like a circle of like 3 or 4 projects usually that I'll put in a few rows on each thing. Like I'll go and knit a couple of rows of the sweater, and then once my hands need a break from knitting, I'll go and crochet something, and then even when I need a break from crochet, I'll go and, you know, back to the knitting. Do I need knitting with more interest? Do this other project. If I need knitting that's got no interest, like that's like just momentum, then do this project. You know, I've got all those sorts of things. But sometimes a project just languishes. It just sits there. And that's what this one was for me. And it was also hurting my brain. Every time I walked past it, there was guilt. There was guilt attached to this project bag. And not all my project bags have guilt attached to them. Some of them are like, yeah, I'll get to that. This one was just like, oh, I really should finish that. I really just need to get it done and just finish it and stop moving it. And just, if I just get it finished, then I can use the blanket, and then I don't have to worry about it taking up all the space in my craft room. And so, yeah, so there was guilt attached to it. And so I needed to get rid of that because I don't like having guilt attached to my projects. And now that I've pulled it back out again, I've done a strip on it, I'm back in love with it again. And I loved it before, and it had just got put aside so I could work on something else that needed to be done, but then it just never really got picked back up. And because it is a big project, it doesn't travel, so it stays here. So if I'm working on something else that's here, I've got a couple of big projects that don't travel. So yeah. Talia says Alima stalled a bit from lack of planning. I'll work on the bits I can while I wait for more of the main color. Or the other thing you can do is you can also pick up and do a couple of rows on your blankets. So this is the thing to remember, especially with blankets and big projects, is you don't have to go, oh man, this is going to need like 40 hours. You can go, well, I've got an hour now. What can I get done? And I think that's how I've been thinking about, well, I've got about half an hour now. Can I get a square done in half an hour? And then I realized as long as I've got a clip handy, like a locking clip, it doesn't matter even if I haven't finished a square, I just lock the chain off. Because this particular, and the weight of it, every time I didn't finish off a square and tie it off, I would actually end up losing half the square, and the moving of the blanket would undo the stitches. Bianca says, I have something hibernating, which I'm turning from a cardigan into a top, and this requires sewing. So bringing that to retreat in hopes of finishing it. Yeah, like, are you thinking just mattress stitching it, or were you thinking something more detailed and interesting? I also promised the Marta that I'd finish knitting the yarn they sent to my auntie to make baby beanies. Oh, so there's guilt attached to that. All right. So you've got a few projects that you've got to get done. Holly says that I finished the 2 blankets that have been hibernating for 2.5 years. I have 2 more to finish that I would like to finish this year. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Bianca, that's what I do as well. Stitch marker into the loop, but sometimes I forget and just didn't. And so it was just, it wasn't a habit. Now it's a habit. So yes, just lots of new habits, new techniques. I was trying to work out how I could possibly do that crochet, because with all my other crochet, I don't really have to weave in ends much. But I worked out that this one just looks a bit too lumpy when I do it with this particular style of crochet. So I would need to, I'm sure there'd be a way to do it, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to just keep on with it. But one thing I have been doing is I finish a strip, and as I'm working the strip, right, I'm just checking where I'm up to with this last strip that I did. Did I go in? I did not go in and weave all the ends. Wait a second. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Okay. So what I would do is as I finished a square, I would go back and weave in its beginning end. But so I didn't forget which end I was working on next, I left that tail out. And then what I would do is before I started that square, I would weave in that end, which I didn't do there, but that's what I've been doing. I am on the front side, right? Just double checking I haven't accidentally flipped it or anything like that, but I have not. I'm coming up the stairs. But yeah, oh, guess who didn't bring scissors? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Bianca says I'll be open to the suggestions for sewing up. Yeah, I think especially if you're turning a cardigan into a top, in my mind, it means you've got an open front. I think that you've got a couple of options. You can either make the seam a feature by adding something to it. So when you're seaming it, it's got you're seaming it through like a second leg. So you've got a stitch up the front, which could look really nice depending on the pattern. Or if you want it to be as invisible as possible, go with the mattress stitch. So yeah. Vampy said, I started getting strict on myself to reduce my whips. I have a 1 to 20 list in Microsoft Word and nothing gets added unless one of those slots is finished. I love that. I was getting much better with myself as well. So on Ravelry, I'm only allowed to have 2 rows, so 12 projects. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Sorry about that. It is dusty. It is a dusty project. It's getting less dusty as I move it around more, but every now and again, it just gets me. All right, what am I doing here? I am still going up. Yes. And, so I have that 12, but this particular project has been taking up a slot for some time. Thank you, Knitspin Girls. I appreciate that. And so I just want to get it done. Also, I'm cold and I would love a nice, heavy, warm blanket. So last night, I had to pop a second doona on my bed because I've just got a little light summer doona on my bed. But it was, what it's like? Like it was just that bit too hot. I think if I had something like this to be able to just put over the top of my other doona, I think that would be better. So, and my husband and I, we, while we share a bed, we have our own blankets. And I know some people raise their eyebrows at that, but my husband is a burrito and he likes to steal all the blankets. And we worked out a long time ago that we can have our own doonas. So, it works perfectly fine. And what am I doing here? I finished that. Oh, it's got to flip that way. And it's perfectly fine. There's no issues with us having our own blankets. When he goes full burrito mode, I still have a blanket. When I need to kick my feet out from under the blanket, it doesn't affect him in any way. So it works for us and most of Scandinavian Europe. So yeah, it's great. So I'm thinking, because and that's the other thing, he doesn't want an extra blanket over the top of his blanket. He's warm enough. I need the extra warmth. And so, yeah, it's one of those things. Own doonas make sense. In summer, I still need one while hubby doesn't. In winter, I need 2. He is okay with 1. It totally makes sense. Yeah, he's a total burrito. Yeah, that's exactly right. Nothing like having the blankets ripped off you in the middle of the night. Absolutely. And especially because he's like this, like an inchworm burrito. He doesn't just do a big roll. He slowly rolls. And so he slowly takes all the blankets. Bianca says it's also totally normal in Germany. Talia says she does the same thing. That's awesome. I think things like this need to be a bit more normalized in like Australia and in other countries because it totally works. My mum put me onto it, funnily enough. Talia says she's the burrito. Oh dear. Yeah, so I like to be able to control my own body temp and not have to make decisions based on blankets of the other person in the bed because we sleep differently. We have different body temperatures. So it's so good. But yeah, there's no like some people are like, oh my gosh, it's just not good having separate blankets. And you're like, but why? What are your reasons? It's not a concrete wall, it's a doona. It can be moved for whatever reason. It's a blanket, you know. So yeah, I think 2 blankets is good. And then I can have the blankets I like and he can have the blankets he likes and we're both happy and we both sleep better. So that's a win, right? Everyone sleeps better. Oh man, I am so happy to be sticking this extra edge on here. So happy. Nothing says you can't cuddle the burrito from the outside of the burrito. Absolutely. I mean, seriously, who unwraps a burrito to eat it? No one. We all deal with the burrito, like the wrapper, the tortilla. We all go from the outside. This analogy is getting weird, right? It's not just me. The analogy is getting weird. Oh dear. But yeah, it's there's this project. There's another couple of projects that have really just begun sort of doing my head in. My fusion blanket is one, but I'm still not ready to deal with that one yet. I think part of it is because it's just going to be a pretty display blanket. I'm probably not really going to use it as such, because it will be a bit painful to launder and stuff. I hadn't considered all of that side of it. So, you know, I like blankets so I can just toss in the washing machine because we have pets and stuff who join us on the couch, join us on the bed, things like that. So it needs to be able to be washed regularly. So that's part of the reason why the fusion always gets backburnered, is because these other projects can be used more. Not that I don't want to get it done. I think it'll be beautiful when it's done. Absolutely beautiful. But yes, just got to get it finished. And up to weaving in a lot of ends on that one now. Regretting not weaving in the ends on the cotton as I went when I was blanket stitching, because that's the thing, you've got the two ends from the blanket stitching and then the two ends from the crochet. And there's a couple of things I would do differently. If I was going to be starting that blanket, I would do the blanket stitching and then just start the crochet straight away. So don't cut the yarn off, just keep going. So there's one stitch at the beginning of the blanket stitch and one end at the beginning of the blanket stitch and one end at the end of the crochet. So that's a lot less to weave in, because it's kind of lacy, and working all that out is one of those things. Where did you get those large balls of cotton? These are from Bendigo Woolen Mills here in Australia. These are 200-gram balls. This is what they consider their 8-ply cotton or DK cotton. It's a bit thin for DK, if I'm being honest. I'm using a 3mm hook with it, if that puts any indication into it. But they have limited colors. So I've got a few bones to pick with the Bendigo cottons. I love these big 200-gram balls. I think that's awesome, and I get a lot of them, but they have limited colors, and I can't get it in a worsted weight. But every now and again they bring out some pretty fun colors, so I just quickly grab it while I can, and it's good value as well. That's the other thing. What are we paying now for these 200-gram balls? Like $18, $20, something like that. Still great value. I just gotta take my slippers off. Believe it or not, my feet are getting hot, which just feels weird to say. But yeah, so like what's been, how many colors have we got in the cotton at the moment? Like 12? Like, you've got to just love the color choices because there's just not many. I really like, considering like they're an Australian-based company, I wish they understood how important that cotton was. I'm actually going to go and double check because I think there's actually a few extra colors at the moment. Leanne is here. Leanne, you missed it because you're late, but that's okay. And I'm going to say it again. It's because of you, Leanne, teaching me how to do the putting the legs through the back stitches. Like, so sorry, when you're on the back and then you work the legs kind of like you're working through it from the front, so that you end up with neater front sides of the project. It's the only reason that I'm still doing it, because I was hating the contrast of the legs hanging out. Bendigo. I just type BE and Bendigo Woolen Mills comes up. Like, what? That says something about how often I go to this website, right? Okay, yarn, cotton. Okay, so we've got Cotton Crush. Let me just screen share here for a second. Screen share with Circle Cam. There we go. All right. So the $17.95 a ball. So that's the 4-ply. There's the 8-ply. That's not bad. That's not bad value. So, oh, wait a second. Since when did we get 10-ply cottons? Look at those colors. Oh, no, I know. I was like, who didn't tell me about this? I know. I think I specifically said, please don't tell me about it, because look at that. Abby, they've got that yellow that you like. Must not purchase. Look at those colors. Oh my gosh, I want all of them. Berry Pop, Maraschino, Peach Smoothie, Sunray, Polar Sky, and Lavender Blue. I want all of those colors. I want them. And that's the worst way. How many meters do we get? 360 meters per 200 grams. Someone will need to do the mathings for the yards and ounces, people. I'm not going to do it. Now, I'm actually just looking for their standard cotton, because the Cotton Crush and the spring cottons are usually limited, like as in they're not part of the regular stock. The spring cotton, I love spring cotton, and it's kind of stretchy. These are actually really pretty colors too. I like that they're doing like a nice selection that all work together, like the tones all work together. You could totally make something using all of these together. These two pinky peachies, you'd want to keep them a bit separated and want to keep the peach away from the brown. What's it really called? Light caramel and delicate peach. But yeah, I mean, or you could just drop out one or two of the colors and go from there. But yeah, I love working with the cotton, the spring cotton. It feels really nice to work with. Now let me just, I'm looking for the stock standard cotton. There we go. Is Solstice cotton part of the regular range now? It doesn't say limited. Oh no, it's still limited edition. Okay. Because that's lovely too. Back. All right, now back to the cotton 8-ply. This is the usual range of colors that we get. And they're usually a bit on the, so this is the pomegranate. This is what I'm working with here. So it's a really beautiful red. I don't think the picture is the right color here on the screen. I don't think this is showing up at the right color, but it's a really pretty red. But yeah, it's a little bit, and I think I'm using French Navy. I think my blue here that I've got is the French Navy, and I've got Snow that is my white, which is nearly a creamy white. It's not quite parchment, but it's not bleachy white either. It's creamy white. But anyway, they've got some good new colors. I like that Ice Matcha. That looks good. And I very much like that Smoky Blue. I love the denim. The denim is one of my favorites. So let me look. It's Hallyu Clay. Does that not look awfully close to that other cotton? Anyway, they're the colors. We just don't get many colors. And even with their luxury wool, right? Like, I don't like the classic. I don't care how many colors they've got in classic. I don't like the classic. I find the classic to be scratchy and itchy. I can't wear the Prism either. It's also scratchy and itchy. I can only really wear luxury out of their wools. And again, it's not like we have a heap of colors. You know, like you've got these companies like Knit Picks, like Hobie, which we cannot have. Oh, I've got a bone to pick with Hobie too. Let me just go back out here. You know, you've got all these other companies. Yarnsmith, like what is it? It's one of the acrylic companies. Who is it? The one that does like the over 100 colors. Like Whisper's nice, but it's got like 5 colors. Like I can wear Whisper. I love Whisper. I think Whisper's beautiful. But it's currently available. Oh, it's got more than 5 colors now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 5 limited colors, 6. It's got about 17 colors. Stylecraft DK. Thank you. Stylecraft DK has got like 11 billion colors. And so, you know, but then I don't actually like using Stylecraft DK. And so, you know, when I've got to try and find an alternative, it's really hard because they do really have the most colors. But I can't wear acrylic. I live in the subtropics and I get overheated easily. I need natural fibers. And I prefer cottons and cotton blends, you know, hemp, silk. Talia, that's my beef. That is exactly my beef. This week I've received like 5 or 6 different emails from Hobie about promotions and blah 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 blah. They, you know, very abruptly shut down our ability to purchase in Australia, and they said that they were deleting our accounts, so we weren't even able to keep our points that we'd earned, and yet they still keep us on the email lists. So I've gone in and unsubscribed. I've already done it. I'm just like, you know what? I can't look at all this stuff because I'll have FOMO and then I'll get grumpy again, and it really ticks me off. It's like back in early 2000, getting access to any of the yarns was hard. Any of the outside of Australian yarns. So anything other than Bendigo or Oz Yarn Co yarns, so like Peyton's, stuff you could get at Big W, Spotlight, that sort of thing. Getting your hands on anything outside, Lion Brand, any of the American brands, Red Heart, Good Luck, you couldn't get them unless you hit a specialty store, and then these cheap American yarns all of a sudden became $20 a ball. And then the world opened up and we were able to start getting some of these yarns delivered. And, you know, we were able to join the rest of the crafters in the world and not having to substitute every single project that you saw. You're actually able to make it in the yarns the designer suggested rather than having to work out if, okay, she wants a skein of mohair held with a skein of 4-ply. What can I do instead? Because the only mohair I could get was that Kid Silk Haze from Rowan, and it was like $20 for a 25-gram ball, which not interested. When they're like, oh, you only need 14 balls. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Leanne says, what have you decided on the border? Your edges looking pretty great. Well, I'm torn because I agree with you. The edges look fantastic, and I don't think it actually needs a border per se, like not to hide edges, but I may need a border just to give me a little bit of extra width. So I'm going to wait and see. If I don't need the extra width, I'm not going to put a border on it. But if I do, I'll decide then. I was actually considering, and I don't know if it would work, but just doing little, like these are 10 by 10 squares that I'm doing right now. But I was thinking of doing like some 5 by 5 squares, but I think I have to have an even number of squares for this to work. So anyway, I will think about it, but hopefully I won't need a border, but if I do, it'll be something simple, probably in white because I'll have them like mostly white left over, but I may have a bit of blue left. So I'm thinking like a blue, like a white, maybe single crochet border or a half double, and then put like a crab stitch in the blue or something over the top of it. That would be the extent of it, because I would just want it just to be a little bit more. And if I need more width than the white section, I'll just make wider. Let's have a look here. What was considering trying the Ice Yarns website, but not sure if I want to buy bulk yarn I've never used before. Look, the thing for me was, even when I ordered from Hobie, I ordered 10 packs of yarns I've never used before. The Hobie packs are usually 3 or 4. And depending on what you get, it can actually be really good value. You're not going to know until you try it, really. I personally hadn't put in an order with Ice Yarns yet. I know Crochet with Claire uses Ice Yarns. And she actually just got a new delivery in recently. But yeah, so I just think it'd be really nice if more companies offered more affordable cellulose products. I think is what I would like, and that's what I miss most from Hobie is the silk cotton blend. Luckily, I have enough for a couple of garments in my stash, so I didn't have to rush out and order more. I was tempted, but I just thought, you know what? No, if I'm going to order any yarn right now, I'm going to order it from whoever I'm going to move to, rather than give Hobie any extra and give their cash flow a nice boost by ditching an entire section of the world as from their delivery schedule. What I will say is Ice Yarn's postage is a lot more expensive, but also in saying that, it looks like they use couriers rather than postage companies. So that you pay more for the postage, but it's actually, I believe the last one that I saw was actually FedEx. So you don't have to rely on Australian Post, which is the big letdown for a lot of these companies. They'll ship something to Australia. It'll make it to Australia within like 2-3 days. And then it sits here waiting for Australia Post to do their thing. Like it gets through customs and waits for like domestic delivery. And it can take longer to organise the domestic delivery and even get it started than it does to get it from Denmark to Australia. So Leanne says that it's had some great reviews, Ice Yarns. It's been around for a long time, but the postage to us is nuts. It is, but it also works out to give you decent value for money on the actual yarn too. So even once you add in the postage costs, it still works out to be decent value for what you're getting. But each individual will have to decide that for themselves. So the other news that I heard is Michaels have bought all the intellectual property of Joann's, meaning that, oh, hang on a second. I just need to do a count here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I thought I was getting a bit long. Let me try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alrighty. Yeah. Oops. Let's stop increasing. But yeah, so Michaels, if you go to the Joann's website now, it diverts you to Michaels and you get a welcome Joann's customers to Michaels. Michaels is apparently purchasing the rights to a lot of their yarns, and apparently including the big twist that I thought Hirschner's would bought the rights to. So I'm a little confused there. And then apparently Michaels stores are also going to start getting in fabrics, which I know is a big issue for a lot of Joann's fans because a lot of Michaels stores never had fabrics, or at least not the fabrics they wanted. So apparently they're going to be getting in the brands of fabrics that Joann's had as well. So it's very interesting to see that another big box store was able to just come in and grab all of that. So I'll be very curious to see how that goes. I don't know does Michaels even deliver to Australia? I don't think it does. I don't think it does. It might do, but I don't think so. And like I will say this thing, and it's something that has really bothered me in the posts that I've made about these. I'm just gonna have some coffee. In the posts that I've made about Hobie and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, well, I just buy all my stuff from Australia, or I just buy Australian made. Like, why would you even support an international company? And I'm like, look, I will support an Australian company the second they get the yarn in that I like. The second they do it, I'll support them. But right now, I'm not finding any Australian company that does a well-priced, nice quality cotton silk blend. The only Australian companies that I saw recommended to me to use instead were all acrylic. No interest in acrylic or the big bulky chenille yarns. I don't even use chenille. I couldn't even tell you the last time I bought a ball of chenille yarn. I don't know, Russell. I haven't tried. Can I buy Michaels in Australia? I'm not entirely certain. I don't think we can, at least not at this stage. So yeah. Holly says we'll see how the Michaels thing goes over the last 5 years. Their yarn section has shrunk a lot. Yeah, and apparently a lot of the fabric crafters are like, oh joy, because Michaels fabric section, not all their stores even had a fabric section, and those that did, it was a bit meh. So we'll see. We'll see. Russell says, I spent half my lifetime in Joann's. It was one of my wife's favourite stores. Yeah, it's been very sad for a lot of people to see those stores close down and go. I read something which was from an ex-Joann's management, like middle management staffer. So she was like store management, and she said that she personally blames the fall of Joann's on upper management and their inability to understand who their customers were, and by how they ran the business, that they didn't run it in a manner that suited crafters at all. So she was actually not surprised when it went under, because they didn't get the things in that crafters wanted or needed. They got in a lot of, like in the last couple of years, they started going really, they were trying to fight like Temu rather than yarn stores. So they were getting in all stuff that wasn't relevant. Holly says, I definitely blame the management. Yeah. But I mean, we have an issue here with Spotlight as well. Spotlight used to have a huge yarn selection. And now the yarn selection is usually in this little corner, in the back corner of the store. And you're lucky if it's like 2 shelves deep, like as in 3 aisles of yarn. And these aren't full length aisles. These are like little half aisles. And then once you rule out all the acrylic out of that, what's left? So, like Australia is one of, like, it exports some of the highest quality merino and cotton in the world. And the problem is they export it all, and we don't get to have any of it for our own stuff. Russell says, doesn't surprise me. There was a huge difference in customer service from store to store, so she had her favourites and others she hated. Once the Spotlight owners retired, the yarn section went to crap. Yeah, it becomes really obvious very, very quickly when businesses change hands in how their attitudes to their customers change. Sometimes it's for the better, and unfortunately, sometimes it is not. And Tali says, that's why I'm having Lima trouble. Oh, because of the colour of the yarn has been discontinued. So, yeah. And one thing I will say, there is a yarn store here in Australia. It's called the Australian Yarn Store. And she's online. And I believe you can go and visit if you're down in New South Wales somewhere. And her merino wool has 56 colours. And they're beautiful colours. And she has like a lower grade wool, which I think for the majority of people would still be fine. But for me, I couldn't wear it next to my skin. I can wear it if it was a second layer or to make things with, but I couldn't wear it next to my skin all day. That one's got like 70 colours. And so I know that it can absolutely be done. So when these people are like, oh, do you know how much it costs to do this stuff? It's just like, then why can these guys do it? And this is a small Australian company. Other companies don't do it because they just don't care. That's what it boils down to. They're like, we can't make enough money fast this way. But they don't care about the longevity of, like, the projects. So I just get a bit irritated when I put out a post about Hobie or something like that, and I cop the whole, you should be supporting Australian businesses. I'm like, cool, yeah, I will. Absolutely. When one gets what I'm trying to replace here. Absolutely. And in an affordable way. I I will support Australian businesses. Like I did buy some beautiful cotton was it cotton silk or yeah, I think it was a beautiful cotton silk from a very nice little store. 3 skeins was $75, 300 grams, $75. Um, it comes out to a bit. It was actually a bit more than 75. It was. I'm just trying to think because I did order 2 lots of yarn. But yeah, it comes out to quite a lot, and it come for me. I have to if I want to make a garment, I need a lot of yarn, and I can't do it with acrylic, or I can't wear the garment. So what's the point? So I'm a bit jealous of those of you that can wear acrylic. I really am. I'm a little bit jealous of those of you that can wear acrylic because it just opens up so many more avenues. And there's some really lovely acrylic out there. Um, there's some really lovely acrylic, but I still can't wear it. So Vampire says my local. Oh, hang on a second. Knitspin Girl says my Lincraft a Lincraft employee told me they mainly sell acrylic now because that's what their customers want. That's what the customers they've got left wants because they didn't supply anything of decent quality for anyone else, so they go elsewhere. Vampire says my local Spotlight has 5 aisles of yarn, a section of wall behind for baby yarn, and 3 bins of mill ends. When they first opened, there was over 16 aisles. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's the thing for me. Like I went from a Spotlight store that had like a massive hello Tibbles. That had a massive selection of yarn down to 3 aisles. And you're just like, really? What's wrong with you? I'm not going out in the lounge room. I'm busy here. He wants me to come and sit in the sun with him. Kelly says it would be great to support local, but it's tough getting what we want. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And I just, like it's frustrating when you do see these companies like Hobie that are able to sell us these yarns at really competitive rates, even once you convert it from American dollars to Australian dollars. Right? I'm not saying it's cheap, it's just competitive. And no one in Australia can compete with it. And you're just like, really? I just want a decent yarn with a decent selection of colors. Because every now and again I'll find the perfect yarn and then the colors are just total meh. And you're just like, wow, okay, cool. Not buying that. And they're like, oh, you could over dye it. And it's just like, yeah, I could over dye it, but I'm not spending $30 for 100 grams of yarn that then I have to go and fix the color on. So, yeah. I'm a little bit jaded at the moment with the yarn industry in Australia. I'm loving that Bendigo Woolen Mills is expanding their cotton ranges. I love the Solstice. I think it's gorgeous. Once I finish off some of these projects that I've got going, my next cast on is a Solstice project. It feels amazing, and I cannot wait to see what it wears like because I haven't worn it yet. But yeah, and then I've got a whisper a whisper cardigan that I'm working on. That's another one of my whips that is nearly done, and I just need to do it. It's the color range that's limiting. Yeah, it is. It really is. Like, I understand how colors are seasonal. I get that we usually have our our colors from our Pantone colors that are delivered every year. These are the colors of the year, blah 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 blah. You've got your colors for your different you know, interior decorating and stuff like that. I get that. I do. I really do. I still want a large selection of colours, please. I don't want to go, ooh, look, a purple. Or, ooh, look, there's baby blue or there's navy blue. There's such a beautiful spectrum of colour in the world. The reason people don't buy the yarn is because no one wants the freaking baby blue or the navy blue. They want all the colours in the middle. Yeah. And the reason why people make baby blue things, oh, people always like baby blue. Well, what choice have they got? It's baby blue or nothing. You can't get good intel on a product line when the options are that or nothing. And what have I done there? Okay, I've come up. I'm on a rant. I'm sorry. I am grumpy about the yarn situation, you know. And Lincraft saying, oh, their customers want acrylic. That's all you give them. They're the options. So, of course, they're going to buy it because that's what there is. And most of us are make do and move on people, but it'd be nice if we didn't have to make do quite so often with the colour choices, especially now that we're being limited by what we can buy from other countries. But yes, it is a little bit. I'm excessively frustrated by it all, and like people's attitudes in the chats and stuff in the groups. Whenever and it's not just me. I because I read a lot of stuff and don't comment as well. But anytime someone says, "Oh, I'm looking for something like this," and it's like a natural fiber, so it's either wool or acrylic, and the first thing someone suggests is like some dodgy acrylic from Big W and not acrylic, sorry, wool or cotton, and someone just suggests a dodgy acrylic from Big W, and then when the person's like, no, I'm after a natural fiber, and they get accused of being a snob. Like, what's wrong with? Are you too good for acrylic? Yeah, you know what? I am. I'm too good for acrylic on my skin to make it so I feel like I'm having a heat stroke every time I wear a top. Absolutely. Leanne says it's great that they're at least adding colours, but please we'd like them quicker. The other thing that I'm really enjoying about Bendigo is that they are trying some different stuff, like the Solstice. It's a limited edition range that they brought out like 4 colours or something to start with, but now they've expanded the colour line. I think if people kept buying it, it's they might get more of it in. So Francis says, anyone that wants better yarn doesn't shop at Spotlight or Lincraft anymore. Oh, absolutely. If you want quality yarn, that they are not the stores you go to. And they're the only 2 big boxes that we have in Australia. And Lincraft has been shutting down stores left, right, and centre. So I don't know how much longer we're going to have Lincraft for. Russell says, seems strange all the stuff that's not available in Australia. Here in America, I guess we're spoiled. Yeah, like I don't know if it's spoiled's the word, but you definitely have a lot more access to stuff than we do. And when I'm in some of the American, and they're like, just go, just get this, and you're just like, I just can't just get that. I can't get it in Australia. And they're like, oh, surely someone could ship it to you. And I'm like, look, if you want to get it delivered to your place and then ship it to me, that'd be great. Let me know what the shipping costs. And they come back to you and go, oh my God, it's going to cost like $40 American just to post it. And for like 2 balls of yarn. And you're like, yeah. Yeah. So like, they get like free post to their home or $5 post to their home. But the second we want it, and like, I remember during I think it was the beginning of COVID, I needed dye. And the company that I've been buying dye from for 10 years decided to stop shipping internationally because of all the international shipping delays, which was understandable. But I'm willing to wait. I just need to put the order in, and I could not get the order in. So I got a friend of mine to order it, got it shipped to her house. It was $180 to get a box this big, shipped from her place to me. But I had to do it because I needed the dye. Let me just do a count before I cut, because I made that mistake before. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. Snippy. Boom. Alrighty, now we're on to some blue. Um, Nispin Girl says, I'm very excited about Bendigo's mohair silk. Would be nice in a purple though. Um, it was for me, it's more that I don't want 25 gram balls. I want 50 gram balls. Everything else I do is in like big bulk balls. And then the mohair silk is in these little 25 gram balls. And it's just like I would like other options, please. But the colors are gorgeous, and I cannot wait for somebody to get it so I can feel it and work, because I react to some mohair silks and not others. And if I don't react to that, I'm just going to buy a ton of it because it's really cute. Um, when you were selling, did you ever look into importing in bulk? Yes, I did. Yep. And I did import some stuff in bulk if I could afford it. So yeah. But there are like things like the dyes and stuff like that. They were like I was buying bulk amounts of dyes, for dyes, like not commercial, like, or industrial bulk levels, but in the scheme of the size of my business, it was bulk. If that makes any sense when it comes to the dye. The dye is a little bit different. Alrighty, this is the thing. So I've got to join on. That's the front. Oh, where's my little things to remind me? Come here, little things. Little things. There we go. So what I was doing is in the squares around, to remind me which was the front and the back, I added stitch markers so I could keep an eye on which was the front and which was the back. I know it seems like a bit silly, but it helped me. All right. So now I've got to join into this white one, but into the back of it. And if I just joined like I've been doing, sorry, my yarn's wrapped around there, I would get this. So I'd have 2 legs of a stitch there, right? But if I do it the way Leanne suggested, which is you turn the yarn and go in like you're going in the top, you get that instead, like a little single little bit. Seems logical that you could put together a lot of demand and make a bulk order for some of the yarns that you might want. The problem being, Russell, that some of the yarn companies just don't deliver to Australia. That's the biggest problem. Is there are some places that if you're Australian, you just straight up can't put in an order. And so you do then have to organise for it to be shipped to a secondary location and then shipped to Australia. And then because those people usually don't have any kind of bulk shipping, international shipping deals, the postage just makes it untenable. Add into that, everything's in US dollars. The dollar is dropping, but it's not, it's still a lot. But yeah, this joining thing, just such a game changer. It totally changed like the whole look and feel of the project for me. Leanne made it so I could make this project in my mind, because without her showing me that way, and I know she told me she learned it from something else, but if she hadn't have showed me that, I wouldn't have bothered. I would have just been like, nope, the legs are annoying. I'm not making it. It looks ugly. I'm not going to put that much work into a project that I'm not happy with. And yes, it means I've got a front and a back of the project, but I don't care about that. Some people do. Different people. Some people don't care about the legs showing. Oops. There we go. Russell says, yeah, I guess it's like the good K-cups you just have to suffer through without. Yeah, because we were looking at that, weren't we, Russell? Like, we were looking at the possibility of me being able to get, like, the K-cups, because I actually enjoyed those while I was in the US. And it Like, while, yeah, I could work out a way to get the machine here, getting the cups, the refillable cups, was just going to be a ridiculous price every month. And I just couldn't do it. Maybe one day, if don't have to think about the dollars that I spend on things, maybe that's a thing that could happen. But yeah, just that's not my life right now. I do have to think about how and where I'm spending my money. So, which is another reason why I'm digging into the stash. I'm trying very hard not to purchase any new yarn at the moment. I bought some when I went on my holiday in February, and I think that might be the only yarn I've purchased this year, other than grabbing buying from a friend who was able to sell me a color out of her stash that I needed for a project. But in saying that, I don't feel limited. I've got so many choices. I actually personally think I've got a better yarn selection choice than Spotlight does when it comes to natural fibers. I think in my choices that I've got here, I think I've got a better range. Oh. Russell says, I wonder why you don't manufacture more wool yarns in Australia. Look, you and me both, Russell. A big part of it was back in the, I want to say 80s. A lot of our mills were shut down because of the EPA laws around wool scouring. The technologies have changed now, and there's a mill in Australia now that has started scouring in a different way that's more ecological. But even Bendigo Woolen Mills, which says that, it's 100% Australian, blah 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 blah, they ship their wool over to China for scouring, and then it gets brought back because we don't have a large scale scourer in Australia, and without scouring, you can't process wool. So that's a big part of it. But the technologies are there now. It's just getting people to open up the scouring facilities, and it's expensive to do, and stuff like that, or at least more expensive than the old way. So yeah, so like Nundle, they does Nundle ship theirs off as well, or do they scour here? I don't know about Nundle. I know that that Bendigo definitely ship theirs offshore. So, but yeah, look, Russell, I agree. We should have a better yarn industry in Australia, considering Australian merino is so highly sought after around the world. We do export an awful lot of it, and we do have very high grade. We don't like, in the scheme of cotton production, we don't have the biggest cotton production in the world, but we do have a quality cotton production. So our cotton's sought after because of the quality of it. So we do have good cotton here. Just again, we can't, like, the cotton is milled in other countries. It might be Australian cotton, but it's turned into spun cotton in like Turkey and other countries. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it's just how it is. And so we just, now that we've lost Hobie, we just don't get to have the nice cotton yarns anymore. So unless we find someone that's, I was looking around, like, trying to find the mill that Hobie uses to see if we could, like, white label any of their yarns and sell them here. But yeah, that's a whole other adventure. Um, Francis, okay, Nundle, well done. Buying new yarn is a struggle, especially when they put a good sale on. Oh, look, I do struggle with the sales, and I get all the emails and I see all the stuff, and I'm just like, oh, that looks really good. And then what I'll do is I'll just share it with my friends instead. I'll be like, hey, did you see this? And you can go and do all the shopping. I'm trying to reduce how much yarn I've got in storage before I buy anything else. Because I've got plenty. I got plenty to go on with. I really do. I've got plenty. and lots of ideas and projects coming, and I just need to make room, mental space room. And that's part of why I'm working on this particular project. This is taking up a huge mental space in my stash space in my brain and in my guilt laden whips or works in progress. So get it done. Get it done. You need the footstool more than the yarn. Lol. Yes, I do. I agree with that. And I'll get there. I'll get there. All my spendings have been put on hold because it turns out that you know, funerals and wakes and what have you are expensive. Should we do a group yarn ban? I'd love to join in. Look, you're all more than welcome to do a group yarn ban. I'm not going to do that because if I see something that is amazing, I'm going to get it. But I'm also trying very hard to be mindful of my purchases. And the second you ban something, or the second you say no, you can't have that because you've agreed to do this, like a ban, you want it more and more and more. But and therefore then it makes life harder. But if you just sort of, I don't know, I think for me it's a mental game. The second I say you can't have chocolate, my body just goes, you know what? All we need is some chocolate and everything will be fine. You know? But if you're like, you know what, I'm just going to have a bit less of that right now and then I'll have some, next week. My body's like, yeah, cool. We'll have some chocolate next week. Great. Leanne would be up for it. Leanne's up for a yarn ban. Look, I'm all for, if you're in Australia, totally unsubscribe to all the Hobie stuff. Like if they're refusing to deliver it to Australia and they cancelled all our accounts and they removed all our little earned reward points and things like that, and they deleted all that, they don't get to have my email address on their mailing list. So yeah. But when it comes to the rest of it, I don't know. I'm a bit torn. Leanne, did you buy yarn 2 days ago? That's so funny. That's so funny. Oh, stop that. Go in the right place. Look at that. I'm so happy with how this is looking. Just, they are facing the other way. I actually don't care that much, I'll be honest. Like maybe I did something wrong here. Yeah, it is. It's facing the opposite way, but that was always going to be the case. And I mean, I have to stare at it to work it out, right? So I don't actually care that much. I had a little look at Hobium yarns. Yeah, they do ship to Australia. I'm not a big fan of what their offering is. Leanne says I did a whole year once. It got easier for sure. Yeah. Yep. I was just thinking that if I just started a square on this side, because this is the starting corner over here for these ones, or let me think, that's the starting corner there. So they start there. So that's the starting corner. So if I had started there, like ignore the blue, if I had started there and gone that way, then on these ones, you'd have to join up once you hit the ends of rows. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. At my local post office, their 10-year-old son helps out. I got a box delivered. I have to get my mail from the PO. He said, Claire's been buying yarn again. Judgment from a 10-year-old, Claire. That's got to hurt. That's got to hurt just a little bit. The running joke down in my mum's hometown is that her Temu addiction kept the post office open. So, yes. Now, what I'm doing here by just adding the extra row onto the other end, I don't recommend that if you are a person who will look at it and go, that's not quite identical. But I'm actually happy that I'm getting the extra width. So I'm doing a little dance about it, even though they're facing in the opposite direction. I'm okay with it. And then once I'm finished, I won't even notice it anymore. I'll stop looking at it and I'll be like, oh yeah, cool, no worries. Once it's washed a couple of times, it fluffs up, gets a bit fluffier. Yeah, ouch. For sure. For sure. Oh my goodness. I used to have a coffee, because I get my coffee delivered, my coffee beans delivered. I used to have a driver who'd actually change his whole route on the days I had coffee because apparently it was packed in such a way that he could still smell it. And his whole van would just smell like amazing coffee beans. And he's just like, I have been craving coffee all morning. And then after that, the second the coffee went into the van, instead of like a 10 o'clock like 10:30, 11 o'clock deliveries, I'd get like 8 a.m., 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m. deliveries. And he's just like, I've just got to get your coffee out of my car. It just smells amazing. And he got me to write down who I get my coffee from. They are online and based in Narooma. Who's that? That? Sandy says you'll be sleeping with your eyes closed. Anyone else who looks at it won't know until it's pointed out. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to work out who Nat's talking about. Online and based in Narooma. She might be behind in the video. That happens. I think he would want to keep I think it was actually sending him insane. Like, can't stop for coffee. No coffee for him to drink, but he can just smell it. It's such good coffee. I really love it. Although now they're using different packaging. I don't think you can smell it. My guess is the Australian Wool Store as well. Yeah. And they have some beautiful yarn lines. Look at the above comment. Above yours, or just because I'm looking at Nat's first comment, and that's under Claire's comments, which I can't work out. Anyway. Yes. Okay. So the Australian Wool Store. All right. Yeah, no, they're fantastic. Love the Australian Wool Store. Love her wool, especially her merino wool. It is just beautiful. And it's in 50 colors. Oh, Craft to You. Oh, if you had tried to put a link in, it wouldn't have let you put a link in. Or Hobium Yarns. Hey, Isabella Crafts. But yeah, I had a look at Hobium, and I wasn't that, it wasn't really my thing. Hang on a second. Am I about to do it the wrong way? I am. Go from the front to the back, or the back to the front. But I'll keep looking. Craft to You. I'll have to have a look there as well. We have lots of little independent stores in Australia now, which I think is great. Kelly says, I'm confused too. Perhaps the yarn delivery that Claire got was the Naruma store. I have the live chat on up to date. The comment is straight after Claire's on my screen. Okay, Nat, let me go after that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. It's all good, Nat. It's all good. Crochet Claire says, loving your blanket. Thank you, Claire. Appreciate that. Trying very hard to just focus on it and get it done. But as you can see, each one of these little squares takes a fair amount of time in my, like, you know, to do. So it's just a long taking blanket, but it's also going to be quite heavy. So for me, like, that's a good thing for me because I like a heavy blanket. Not everybody does. I get that. And it's because of A, it's cotton, and B, the density of these corner to corners. I'm using DK weight yarn and a 3mm hook. So it's making it quite tight. Look here. How big is the blanket? Love heavy blankets. So far, the length is, oops, hang on, is that too many? It is. The length is about 1.8 meters long, and I'm trying to get it to be around the 1.2 meters wide. Hopefully that would be awesome, like minimum. Let me look here. So with this extra square added on, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I can get another. Where's my tape measure? There it is. It's in the bottom. So on the other end, I can do another white and blue, a red and white. So white and blue, red and blue, and white and blue, as long as I don't run out of blue. Which I've got double the amount of blue than I do red. So, that's inches. Let's go centimeters. So we're already up to 78. Wait a second. I measured 5 of these squares across earlier and it came to 62 centimeters. And now it's 66. Did I just think 62? Like, I'm going to measure the other end because I'm beginning to worry. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I thought it was 62, but it's 66, and that's actually good. I'm just going to remeasure. I'm just remeasuring. Nothing to see here. Just remeasuring. Yeah, that one's 65. I can deal with a centimeter out. It's just this little white one here that's it's a bit shorter. I don't know. I just needed to do that and must have just needed a little bit of spreading. Okay. So, all right, 66, not 62. I did all my math based on 62. Where's my calculator? Alrighty. Calculator. Okay, so 60, clear. 66 divided by 5 equals times, so that's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9 times 9. Oh, we're going to get up to the 1.18. Oh, hang on. Something's on my keyboard. I was trying to type a message into the chat. Don't do that, Blanket. Blankets aren't allowed to type in the chat. I'll block you. So yeah, so it's going to become like 1.18, and it's cotton. It's going to creep. It'll get bigger. So even if all I get to do is this extra row and then the 3 rows on the other end, like the So the 1, 2, 3. If all I get to do is that, I'll be at a really comfortable blanket size. It'll be pretty close to a single bed blanket size. Yes, Leanne, I like a heavier blanket. They're good for restless legs. Yes, they are. I'm using the Bendigo 8-ply cotton and a 3mm hook to get it a bit closed in and tight because I'm a pretty loose crocheter. So when I first started the blanket, I was using a 3.5mm, but my tension got looser in the meantime, and I needed to drop down to get the squares back to the same size again. So keep an eye on that. Long-term projects. How will you be washing, drying it? I'll be throwing it in the washing machine and tossing it in the dryer. This Bendigo cotton can totally handle that. No problems at all. It'll need to go on like a bedding setting on the washing machine. Just because of the weight, but my washing machine can totally take it. I've got I think it's an 8-kilo front loader. So it can take some pretty big loads. Oh, I'm so excited now. I've just realized like my crocheting just sped up. Like that's how I know when I'm excited about something. I'm like, how fast can I finish now? Still a very long way away, Chantel. It's still a very long way away, and pace yourself because you've got basically 4 rows because you've only done 1 and a bit blocks out of this row. So basically 4 rows to go if the yarn holds out. Oh, wait, what did I do there? I only did half the stitches and then tried to do the join on. That's what I did. Like a numpty. Try again with the correct number of stitches. All right, let me just double check. I've got 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. Got the right width. Yeah, it is awesome, isn't it? I agree. I love it when I don't have to do any special laundering for my projects. That's one of the things I do like about the Bendigo Woolen Mills. I realized one of my Bendigo cotton blankets is looking a little worse for wear, and I was looking at it trying to work out why it had died so fast. Then I realized it didn't die fast. It had 10 years of heavy use. And it's totally allowed to look a bit frayed around the edges. Also, it had a puppy digging on it when it was little. I don't have a Louis. Louis came in here like before the live stream and then paused and then walked off and went into Abby's bedroom. I've got a feeling that if I went and checked, oh, actually, Abby's home now, so he's probably with her. But if I checked, he'd probably be in her bed because he is not coping with these cold mornings that we've been getting. Today was definitely a bit warmer than the day before. So that was nice. But I still had to put the heater on in here before the stream because it was chilly. It was chilly in here. It was like literally chilling. Like I opened the door up and I couldn't quite see the mist from my face, like when you breathe. But I felt like my face felt like it could happen. Because I had this door shut last night. So it wasn't even getting any of the extra warmth from like Abby's room or anything like that. Oh, what's happened to my camera? It went off. Hang on a second. No, it's gone. All right, I don't know if you guys can still hear. Well, you guys can still hear me. I'm going to see if I can fix this camera. I don't know what happened. It shouldn't have gone off. I'm going to turn it off and on again. And hope that that solves it. But luckily, so I'm going to leave it with no face cam for a bit. So yeah, I know it's a bit weird. We haven't had face cam for a while. Sandy says, I'm working on something. I'm leaning towards a jacket of sorts, but it's made with the corner to corner waffle stitch. I love me some waffle. A corner to corner waffle stitch. Oh, I haven't seen anything like that. I'll definitely have to go and check that out. Definitely. Let me just see if this comes back on. I don't know if it's. I don't know why it went off. I can't guarantee it's not gonna go back off again, but it's back for now. I no idea why it went off. It just stopped. All I did was just turn the camera off and on again. I didn't twiggle any plugs. I didn't do anything else. Oh, it's a bag a day things. It turns out like diamonds. I'll have to go and have a look. Yeah, definitely. I love a waffle stitch. Waffle stitches are very hungry, but they look so good. Natalie says, check out my Ravelry. I recently finished a corner to corner waffle. It's so squishy. Yeah, it's certainly not overheating. Although, in saying that, it did feel a bit warm when I checked it, and it is, but like it's at the window where the sun is beating in. So I wouldn't say it's hot in here though, not by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't know. Oops, that's a bit loose. Let me try that again. Get that a bit of snug up there. Weird. I'll definitely be checking it out, Nat. Definitely. Actually, I'm gonna go and check it. I've got Ravelry open. I'm just gonna go and check um projects. Friends. Hang on 1 second. Once I've got it up, I will open it up once I can find it. Decays. Keep going. Anyone else notice that Josephine's changed her her photo and everything, and it looks amazing? I just wanted to point that out. L M. It mustn't be under Nat. It's all right. Leanne's dropped the Fun Zone link. Woot. I'm looking at my friends, and you guys are all like favoriting stuff. Oh, okay. It's under Talia Louise. You guys are like favoriting and all sorts of stuff. Oops, I'm caps locking all over the place. There we go. All right, let me go to your projects. Are you right with me sharing the screen? Like, let me know, Nat. And I'm going to go and look for it. It was a corner to corner waffle blanket. And you've just finished it. Oh, yep, you're cool. All right, thank you for that. Now, which one am I looking for? Corner to corner. Oh my gosh. All right, let me so squishy. Let me do a screen share here. Screen share with Circle Cam. There we go. Look at that. That looks so squishy. And that's corner to corner waffle. Oh my gosh. I'd like a different picture. There we go. Oh, Nat. That looks so squishy. I'm just going to go over here and just save in favorites. as a blanket. Save. Oh my gosh, Nat. That is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Wow. I'm just having a look here. You used Bella Baby Wonder Ply, Wonder 8 Ply, 8 skeins. Wow. And that got you what size of blanket? 4mm hook. What was the finished size of the blanket? Just out of curiosity. Because I don't think it's, unless I'm blind, I could be blind. I don't think it's written on here. Yeah, that's gorgeous. And I think a corner to corner in a cardigan, that would just be so just all the squishy, honestly, all the squish all the time. I haven't taken a final measurement, but it is a baby blanket size. Okay. Alrighty. It looks gorgeous, Nat. That's so beautiful. Is that a gift for someone? Because that's just beautiful. Gosh. You know when you're like powering along with something and you just got to double check you haven't been doing it wrong? Because the other day I'm like, oh wow, I'm finishing off this square so fast. And then I realized I was sort of like, I'd gotten to there and started doing the decreases, had all this I had to undo. The Gamer Widows, it's good to see you. Nat says my cousin expecting her first grandbaby soon, so it's for her. Oh, that's going to be lovely. Such a beautiful, beautiful gift. So squishy. Alrighty, we're just powering on. I'll just keep crocheting. And my keyboard's like, oh, I'm nearly out of power. What do I do? What do I do? And it's sending me all sorts of messages. Stop sending messages. That conserves some of your power. I got the memo. After the stream, I'll plug you in for charging. Jeez. I will say, back in the day, like the rechargeable keyboards, you'd be lucky to get like a couple of days. Now it's just like, oh, I haven't charged that in like a month. I should probs do that. So, I complain, but not a lot. I finished my jumper for the second time yesterday. So many ends to sew in now. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that you made that decision to frog it and make it the right size. Because it's so hard, like, just looking at all the work you've done, realizing it just is too big or whatever, it just doesn't fit, and just frogging it all over and starting again. Like, that's one of the things. Like, people are like, oh, how long does it take to finish a garment? I'm like, which time? Which time? Because there's the wrong time and the other wrong time, and then there's the right time. So, yeah. You know, how long is a piece of string? Yeah, exactly. Exactly like that. Looks so nice in one color. I think if it was in more colors, it would ruin the effect, possibly. Oh, yeah. Stabbing yourself with an awl is not recommended. Definitely not. Definitely not. 0 stars. I made a cowl of lacy squares. I joined as I went. You don't know how many times I started making cubes as I was going along. I believe it. I believe it because we've all done it. I'm glad it's a quick knit, but it was still frustrating to have to start again. Yeah, I can imagine it would have been. I mean, I'm restarting my cardigan, my sweater, well, it's not a sweater, it's a t-shirt, but it's using a sweater pattern. I'm starting mine over again as well. I'm so happy I have, though. But it is being pushed to the side while I work on this because I just want to get this one finished and use the blanket is the big thing. It's cold. I want to use this blanket. Knowing my luck, because Queensland, we don't normally get much of a winter. It's been a bit of an earlier hit than usual, but we don't really get yucky winters, right? So what's going to happen is in a week or so, when I finally finish this, it's going to heat back up again. It's going to be like 20-degree days, and you're just like, really? Really? There's my single digits gone. My blanket's ready. So yeah, I mean, what are we at right now? The sun's out. It's like beating. What have I done with my phone? It's around somewhere. I used it for mathing. There it is. Here we go. Current temperatures 17 feels like 13. 37% humidity. What's it going to get down to overnight? It says it's going to get down to 1 degree again. So that's great. That's another cold start tomorrow. Joy. That's exciting. Tomorrow's going to be another cold start. So what is 1 degree is what? 34? Is that right? 34 Fahrenheiters. Um as huge as Crystal is, I've never made one of her patterns. Maybe the corner to corner waffle will change it. I'm the same. I've actually never made any of her stuff either. Claire says at her place it's 9, feels like 5. Oh my gosh, Claire. Just think it'll just keep warming up a bit longer. Just, it's midday. We'll get a bit more sun. I would like to finish the blanket while it's cold and actually be able to use it to rug up. Oh. Stuart left in 3 degrees this morning. No thanks. Did he light the fire before he left is the question, Leanne. Bank it up so that when you woke up everything was warm and toasty. Game Widow says 13 feels like 12.4 overnight. That's warmer than here. Why are you getting warmer temperatures than us? Gamer Widows, that's wrong. You're further south. You're closer to the Arctic. Why are you getting warmer temperatures? Oh, this is the other thing that happens. I keep turning and turning and turning till eventually I can actually not twist the blanket anymore, and I've got to untwist it. There we go. BOD just posted a stitch tutorial not too long ago. All right, I'll have to look out for it. There we go. Well, Vampire, thank you for your input on getting more on this side of it. Gives me that extra run. So I will have this white, blue all the way around the blanket. And if I need to do a border, I've got that as well. I've got way more. I'd probably be able to do my border mostly in white, but I would like to ideally be able to do either a slip stitch edge or a crab stitch edge in either the blue or the red. So I'd have a white border and add in the blue or the red. So it might also be nice to actually just do like the initial slip stitch chains either in blue or red as well. I don't know. We'll see. Um, yeah. So thank you all so much for jumping in and hanging out while we did this. I hope that some of you have picked up a work in progress that's been lingering in the corner, that maybe it's been in hibernation or not quite being hibernated, but just pick it up, get it done, move on to the next thing. That's my goal here, is just to keep going with this one, to get it done and move on to the next thing, because it's taking, like, its project bag is a big one, and it was actually like I would literally have to step around it to get out the door of my craft room. It is now off the floor there, and I'm just able to like free shoot it out. There's 2 more bags there, and they are not current projects. There's stuff that need to just be unpacked. Then those 2 bags can get up off the floor as well. The reason they're there is because if they're on the floor and they're in my way, I'll do it. But then there's just what projects? Oh no, you can see, I can't cover both sides. But yeah, there's this stuff. Some of it's just yarn that needs to be stacked into the cubes. Some of it is not. So that's my plans. So you guys have a great week. I'll catch you back here next week. And don't forget, let me know in the Discord or on the Facebook page what you're working on. Show me photos. And also, actually, here on YouTube now, new feature for those of you that have still hung around is we have the ability for you to post on the community tab here. So if you go to my YouTube page from your phone, it only works from the phone. So go to Fibrific and there'll be a button that says join community or enter community or something like that. Tap on that. And then they'll be like, what are you thinking? And you can start a post there for the rest of us to have a look at and comment on. So any of you that want to throw in your languishing whips over there, please do that. I'm just testing it out. I may turn it off. It'll depend. It's another area that needs moderating. But in the meantime, we're testing it and playing with it. So go and have some fun with the new feature that's on. It's not actually even rolled out on YouTube. Some people have it, some don't. It's a beta test. Somehow I ended up in the beta. I don't know. It doesn't happen very often, but I'm in there. So I'll catch you all next week. Be good now. Bye.